How's up, beautiful people? Rex here. Welcome to the ultimate best knives tier list because it's mine. So this is our tier list here. We've got S+, S, A, B, C, D, and E tier. And we're gonna put all the knives where they belong. But we'll just start off with the bayonet. Quite the cool draw animation. If you like get a kill or something, it's like really cool and flippy if you like pull that one out. They're definitely cool. It's like the M9's smaller brother. I do not like the handle though. It has weird color and it with Doppler skins it stays that handle, so that looks pretty bad in my opinion. But like the knife as a whole is just so... It's just an OG knife. It's just cool. It's flippy, good knife. That is an A tier for me. Next knife, the Bowie knife. A pretty underrated knife in my opinion. It has a cool inspect animation where you just like point it towards yourself. Cool draw animation as well, where you like spin it a little bit. The downside is you only see one hand, so that isn't that cool. It has a thick blade though, and it's pretty huge, so just pretty cool knife in my opinion. Not the best, but definitely B tier, I would say. Next up, the M9 bayonet. Such an OG knife. Beautiful draw animation. Pretty boring inspect animation, because it's just the default one. But like, you get such a beautiful knife with this one. The M9 bayonet is just so much thicker, cooler, manlier, has a cool handle. The overall shape and everything is just so beautiful. You get so much for your money with the M9 in my opinion. It's just such a beautiful knife. And that is definitely an S tier. The butterfly knife, I think needs no introduction. Fan favorite. Really cool inspect animations. Really cool draw animations. For the TikTok kids, you know, it's pretty good because you have like this goldfish memory. It really stimulates your brain, you know. So that's really good when you like flip it around and everything. It is the blade is quite small though, so you don't get too much out of if you have like a special skin on it or something. But yeah, it is a great knife. I'm gonna be honest. So it is also an S tier. Congrats. Now we have the Navaja knife. It's pretty tiny, I mean average size, it has a nice personality. Has nice engravings, handle kind of whack. Looks cool on the default, but if you have like skins, it can look quite distracting. I don't like how the handle is so big, but like the knife itself is so average sized. And it just has a weird shape and everything. It's just so tiny and weird. And I'm sorry, but it's gonna be an E tier for me. So really bad. Next up, this knife, I think it's the Survivor knife. My opinion, quite the ugly knife. I'm really not a fan of this knife. Has a pretty weird handle, doesn't look comfortable when you'd hold something like that. Draw animation also looks kind of like looks so weird, you know. Inspect animations, nothing special. Like the default one is you like pinch it between your fingers. But that is the rare draw animation, which is kind of cool. I'm gonna be honest about that. But the overall knife shape and like everything, it isn't that cool in my opinion. So that is a D tier for me, pretty low. Next up, the Nomad knife. Such a sleek looking design, such a sleek looking inspect animation, and with a cool metal handle. Just overall, just such a clean look. Looks so cool. You get a lot for your money if you have a skin on it. It's the draw animation also cool. You grab it on the sharp side. That's why you can get the rare draw animation, which looks like this, and which is pretty cool. Yeah, that the inspect animation is cool, but nothing too special. But it's still pretty unique. The knife shape and everything, that just really does it for me. So I will give that knife an A tier. Next up, the paracord. Looks kind of cheap because it's just like this piece of metal that's just like one plate, one long plate with just paracord wrapped around it, which is kind of cheap in my opinion. It doesn't also look too comfortable holding it. But just like the shape itself just doesn't, I don't really like it. Especially if the handle is so thin and like the top is so thick, it just looks kind of off to me in the whole shape. I don't know, I'm just not a big fan. So I'll put that one at D tier. Next up, the Shadow Daggers. A good entry knife, because they are mostly not so expensive, and you get 2 for 1, so that is quite the deal. They're kind of tiny, and they're also called the butt plugs for a good reason, but I honestly wouldn't want to stick that up my butt. Really non-special. Inspect animation, draw animation is fine as well. I like that they changed the, they fixed the little thing where when you drew them in CSGO, like your whole screen was shaking, so it's definitely better now, because your screen doesn't shake. Overall, I think it's a bit underrated knife even, because it's kind of cool. I'll put it at a C tier for now. Next up, the classic knife. Very, very classy, very classic. I like that towards the sharp side, you have like this nice little pattern, which also keeps staying if you have like something like a crimson web and it gets worn a little bit, or most skins for that matter, on that knife. It starts wearing at the that little shape there, so that is quite cool actually. You keep that shape pretty much. The inspect animation with this one is pretty nice as well. Draw animation, I guess that's pretty much how it looked in the older games, but I like when you hold it just that you do this sometimes. Well, I'm not a big fan of the shape though, especially like the handle is so blocky. I mean, it's accurate, but it's still kind of weird for me, but it's not too bad. I'll put it at a C tier. Next up, we're taking off, we're taking off. The skeleton knife. When you inspect it, you put your finger in it and like twist it around like that. That's so manly, just like, it looks like the metal plate it's made out of looks so thick and manly and strong, like you can actually stab somebody with that. And of course, the little spinner here for all the TikTok kids using their fidget spinners, so that's really cool. Draw animation, default one, decent, but the special one, oh yeah, just look at that. That is so cool. That is so cool. Such a cool knife. Such a cool knife shape. And the knife skin goes around the whole body pretty much. Does look a little bit uncomfortable to hold though, but I will give it an S tier. S tier knife. Pointy and dangerous. Next up, the falchion knife. One of the best budget knives also. It flips like a flip knife. Looks like you need some power to flip it open. You get the super cool rare inspect animation which defies gravity. The default inspect animation looks really cool as well. Shape is a bit weird though, you know, obviously it's a cheap knife. I like the right stab. I can put it that high though. So I'll put it at a C tier, at a decent C tier. Next up, the stiletto. I am really not a fan of this knife. It is ugly. It's really ugly. You have this ugly handle, which also doesn't change with some skins, so that also is kind of bothering. This inspect animation, what the fuck is this? It is a little toothpick. No, Italian knife to step your Luigi. You don't get much from your skins there. Ooh, yeah, really not that good of a knife. Pretty overrated in my opinion. D tier. Next up, the flip knife, one of the OGs. Handle green. Isn't that cool if you have a Doppler skin? Doesn't really fit that much. But the shape is so cool. And honestly, kind of weird. Fun fact, it always reminds me of a wizard hat. So, like pointy and a little bit goes like the back, you know? It's kind of a little wizard hat. It's the best flip knife because it's like the OG flip knife. It's a cool animation, you know, when you like pull it out. It's pretty cool. When you flip it open, inspect is default, so pretty boring, but like the knife shape just does it for me. It's just and you get a lot of flip for your flip knife. So that is a solid B tier for me. Next up, the huntsman knife. Kind of an underrated knife in my opinion. Has the same animation as the gut knife. So default inspect, pretty boring, but free flippy, spinny, cooly draw animation. The knife shape itself is pretty sick. Looks strong and deadly for hunters, because it's the huntsman knife. See what I did there? If you have a skin on it, you get so much space to have your skin on. That is a B tier. Next up, the gut knife. The talon knife. When you're a little attention seeker and you want everybody to know that you have a knife, that pull-out animation really does it for you. Because like if you get a kill or something and you pull that knife out, it goes across your whole screen so everybody knows that you have a talon knife. It rattles a little bit when you play with it. Listen closely. You hear that? So the screws are a little bit loose. It's a bit low quality, you know. It's a Karambit knockoff, you know. It has a cool blade shape though. I'm gonna give it that. But like the handle just looks weird. Also beige color doesn't change with some skins, like the Dopplers. But like the inspect animation also. Yeah, nothing too too crazy, but like the overall shape just doesn't really cut it for me. I'll definitely always take the Karambit over this one, but it also has this funny animation. Like I said, the shape and the handle just doesn't do that much for me. So I'll put it at a B tier. Solid B tier though, solid B tier. Could close to an A. Oh, this one certainly doesn't need an introduction. The Karambit. Beautiful knife, man. The absolute best knife in the game, in my opinion. The absolute OG. If I think of CS knives, I think of the Karambit, and I think many people do. Such a beautiful knife. So sleek. It just works. It has this beautiful, sleek shape. Nothing fancy. It just knows what it is. It doesn't need to be all fancy or anything. It just is the best knife in the game. It's just beautiful. And look how fast I can spin it. Now that is an S+. An S+ best knife in the game. Last but kind of not least, the Ursus knife. It looks like it has a handle made out of rubber, so that looks kind of cheap. It's like this metal blade coming out of this rubber handle just doesn't really look that good to me. It just looks weird. Draw animation, the special one, that's pretty cool. You catch it midair. Inspect animation, also like this kind of default looking one, but it also has a secondary one where you like flip it around like that, which is pretty decent. The blade shape is cool, but just like together with the handle and everything, it just looks so weird. So that is a D tier, and that is my ultimate knives tier list. That's it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one, as always.